Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think the best way to start off the new year is to visit heroin addiction. Because why not? Welcome back. My name is Miguel, and you are watching my movie reviews. I said in my last one that I've been really trying to make time to do these things. However, it is kind of difficult considering I am a university student, a full time university student, in fact. And having a lot of shit at this time of the year makes it very difficult to sort of create things and visit movies in depth. So I'm really trying to make it work. So if you enjoy what you're seeing, please consider liking, subscribing, all that jazz, and let's get into it. So I'm going to be talking about Trainspotting 2 today. This is the sequel to Trainspotting, which I reviewed last time. I'd mentioned that I would be reviewing it, and here we are. So this film came out in 2017, and funny enough, I actually saw this first, and then visited the original film, and then came back to it for the sake of the review. And I have a pretty interesting perspective, having been blind to this movie and its universe, and then having to come back into it. This film follows the exact same cast. You still have Ewan McGregor, you have Aaron Bremner reprising their role. Johnny Lee Miller plays a way more important and vocal role in this film, and this kind of takes place in Mark Renton's return to Hindenburg. And after the events of the last film, I'm not going to spoil it here, but certain things go down, and he ends up returning to his friend group, who in fact previously was completely entrenched in heroin addiction. And if you've seen the first Trainspotting, you'll notice that the film is very dark and nihilistic about its outlook on the world. Specifically, it reflects the situation of being stuck in heroin addiction and abusing a drug of the sort. And it sort of carries you along this journey of discovery and adolescence, and sort of tries to reconcile how these things all fit together, which is, I have never been afflicted with that sort of addiction, but I can imagine to be very difficult. And the first Trainspotting really makes that apparent, doesn't hide away from it, and as such develops a very strong and deeply philosophical look at pain and how it sort of inhabits yourself and the world around you. So that's a brief rundown of the original. I had not known that when I went into this movie the first time. And this film takes a very different approach to similar topics, but looks at the individuals at play more than the overall problem of addiction or nihilism. So this film really hones in on your titular characters, being Mark Renton, Sick Boy, who is now named Simon, I believe, and Spud, and sort of, works through their reconciliation with one another, as well as the new challenges they face, because you don't just get over addiction, you still have the rest of your life to live. And this film sort of takes that and allows the characters to live. And recognizing what they have gone through together and the gap of time between the two films, it is a very interesting look to see these characters interact again. And the first time I watched it, I realized that you don't really need a lot of context to make this film work. I feel like the direction, the cinematography really puts you in the mindset of Mark Renton as he re-enters this arena. And seeing this movie blind, you really get to experience the characters just interacting with one another. You don't really need the context per se, but upon having the context, it's a complete departure from what the first one was like, which to some people will say is a disappointment, to others will say is very interesting, now being able to spend more time with these characters. As I said earlier, Simon gets way more of a big role in this film. In terms of technicalities, you can tell the budget was significantly higher with this one. And I believe that Danny Boyle kind of uses it really well. There's some really cool shots in here, callbacks to the first film that aren't overly dramatized, but kind of sparks some life into this film and really makes the characters feel like real people who have gone through really difficult anguish together. And I feel like you can enjoy this film watching it on its own, and you will find more enjoyment having seen the original. So you really can't go wrong. And with a revitalized sequel such as this, I think that this film kind of executes that balance quite well. In terms of the plot and the narrative, this film explores very different themes than the first one. In here, you really explore the idea of maturation and friendship and camaraderie, and what that means to people who have gone through really difficult times, really difficult times, and in a way explores the idea of settlement and really looks at, you can find comfort and long-standing happiness with people that just care about you and that you mutually have similar respects for them. However, when we look at the addiction side again with this film, you can kind of see it, Danny Boyle being a little bit more playful with the idea of addiction, which, is fine, I guess. To me, I think the film really focuses on these characters, and that's the focal point of the narrative, as opposed to heroin and drugs being the more so focal point of the last one. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad move. It is just something that's a little jarring considering all the events that happened in the last film, and having them sort of, take it lightly almost. The tone is a little bit here and there, but again, it is a dark comedy, so you can kind of expect that out of films like this. Overall, this film is quite an enjoyable ride. It really fills you with that boyish camaraderie, so to say. These characters feel authentic. They feel like they care about each other, and the chemistry is all there that existed in the last film. Here you get something a little bit more traditional, where there's an antagonist and they're kind of going at odds with Bigby, who has, in this film, leaving jail. If you haven't seen the first one, that means nothing to you, but overall, I did really enjoy Trainspotting. T2 or T2 Trainspotting. If I had any glaring problems with the film, I feel like Simon's girlfriend, I forget what her name is in this film. Gail? Yes. Is that who it is? Whatever. The girlfriend character of Simon, who ends up, I'm not gonna spoil that actually, but I did not enjoy her performance. I thought that she was kind of just there to be a female in the movie. Other than that, though, it didn't really distract from the film overall. I thought it was still a pretty enjoyable experience. And if you're looking for anything that will sort of make you reflect on your own friendship and make you and your friends, realize the extreme journeys you've gone through together, and sort of sit in your happiness, I definitely recommend you check out T2 Trainspotting. Even though it does tackle some pretty dark themes and has very difficult scenes to watch, I think that the underlying message of the film, that you can always find home with your friends, is a very powerful one, especially nowadays when you don't get to see a lot of people. So I will give T2 Trainspotting an 8 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. Is it better than the original? After having seen the original and then reflecting on this, I prefer the original purely because of the content and the themes at play. This film is technically better. It has a lot more creative shots. I think that the use of music and cinematography is very well done in this movie. But I still, there's a space in my heart for philosophy, so I'll have to go with the first one. But that is my review of T2 Trainspotting. That is my review of T2 Trainspotting. If you enjoy what you're seeing, again, please subscribe and like, comment, whatever. Follow me on my social media, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.